Whenever I listen back to something that I do, it just makes me feel weird.
She walked into the spotlight almost by accident, yet the moment she opened her mouth to sing, everything changed. At just 13 years old, Courtney Hadwin, a quiet schoolgirl from County Durham in the UK, stunned the judges of America's Got Talent with a performance that went viral in seconds. According to her official biography, her audition clip had already gathered over 310 million views shortly after it aired. Before that, she had made her first mark in show business in 2017 on The Voice Kids UK, but at AGT, she exploded onto the international stage with a powerhouse rendition of Hard to Handle that earned her the coveted Golden Buzzer. What makes this early rise so remarkable isn't just the raw talent, but the contrast. Here was a teenager who by day was doing schoolwork and by night was being compared to rock legends like Janis Joplin. Her voice crackled with smoke and grit. Her style had the swagger of someone twice her age. And just like that, the world sat up and took notice. But this whirlwind reveal was only the beginning of a far more complicated journey ahead. The record deal and industry battles. After her astonishing rise on America's Got Talent, the spotlight on Courtney Hadwin burned brighter than ever. But behind that glow, a far more complicated story was unfolding. Within months of her viral success, major record labels began circling, eager to turn her raw, rebellious energy into the next big commercial product. In 2018, she signed a deal with Simon Cowell's label Psycho Entertainment and Arista Records under Sony Music, a partnership that promised to catapult her from teenage sensation to global rock star. Yet, as is often the case in the music industry, what looked like a dream soon became a test of identity and control. Insiders reported that creative disagreements began to surface almost immediately, with executives allegedly pushing Courtney toward a more polished, pop-friendly image, a far cry from her soulful, unfiltered rock roots. At just 15, she found herself navigating boardroom politics, brand meetings, and the heavy pressure of expectations that would challenge even the most seasoned artist. Critics started to notice the long gaps between her public appearances, sparking speculation that all was not well behind the scenes. Those close to her described the period as overwhelming, marked by endless rehearsals, label demands, and the struggle of a young girl trying to hold on to her authenticity in an industry obsessed with trends. For Courtney, the fame that once felt like liberation began to feel like a cage, one lined with contracts, expectations, and the constant fear of being reshaped into something she wasn't. But what came next would be even more puzzling, a sudden disappearance from the limelight that left fans everywhere asking the same question: what happened to Courtney Hadwin? The sudden disappearance from the spotlight. Then, just as quickly as she had risen, Courtney Hadwin seemed to vanish from the music scene altogether. After her post-AGT buzz, fans expected an album, interviews, or at least regular social media updates. Instead, months turned into years with little more than brief appearances and cryptic posts. Her YouTube channel went quiet, her Twitter feed slowed to a whisper, and music journalists began to wonder if the teenage rock prodigy had walked away entirely. In the entertainment world, where visibility is survival, Courtney's silence was deafening. Reports began circulating that internal label conflicts and the abrupt closure of Simon Cowell's Psycho Music in 2020 left her career in limbo. Insiders suggested she was trapped in a transition period, still under contract but with no clear path forward. Meanwhile, fans online debated whether she had chosen to take a break, faced burnout, or been quietly shelved by the industry. Some even speculated about health issues or personal struggles, though nothing was ever confirmed. What made it stranger was that Courtney's peers from AGT and The Voice Kids were releasing music, touring, and capitalizing on their fame, while she stayed almost completely off-grid. Industry observers noted that the pressure of early fame, combined with creative frustration and corporate red tape, may have pushed her to retreat for her own sanity. Whatever the truth, it became clear that the bright-eyed teenager who once embodied the raw spirit of rock had disappeared into the shadows, leaving only echoes of her legendary audition and a mystery that fans couldn't stop talking about. But that silence wouldn't last forever, because when Courtney finally resurfaced, she did it on her own terms. The sudden disappearance from the spotlight. Then, just as quickly as she had risen, Courtney Hadwin seemed to vanish from the music scene altogether. After her post-AGT buzz, fans expected an album, interviews, or at least regular social media updates. Instead, months turned into years with little more than brief appearances and cryptic posts. Her YouTube channel went quiet, her Twitter feed slowed to a whisper, and music journalists began to wonder if the teenage rock prodigy had walked away entirely. In the entertainment world, where visibility is survival, Courtney's silence was deafening. Reports began circulating that internal label conflicts and the abrupt closure of Simon Cowell's Psycho Music in 2020 left her career in limbo. Insiders suggested she was trapped in a transition period, still under contract but with no clear path forward. Meanwhile, fans online debated whether she had chosen to take a break, faced burnout, or been quietly shelved by the industry. Some even speculated about health issues or personal struggles, though nothing was ever confirmed. What made it stranger was that Courtney's peers from AGT and The Voice Kids were releasing music, touring, and capitalizing on their fame, while she stayed almost completely off-grid. Industry observers noted that the pressure of early fame, combined with creative frustration and corporate red tape, may have pushed her to retreat for her own sanity. Whatever the truth, it became clear that the bright-eyed teenager who once embodied the raw spirit of rock had disappeared into the shadows, leaving only echoes of her legendary audition and a mystery that fans couldn't stop talking about. But that silence wouldn't last forever, because when Courtney finally resurfaced, she did it on her own terms. The independent comeback and creative rebirth. After nearly 2 years of near-total silence, Courtney Hadwin re-emerged. Not through a record label announcement or glossy media rollout, but quietly and independently. Her return took shape on social media and streaming platforms, where she began posting snippets of original songs, acoustic sessions, and short behind-the-scenes videos that felt refreshingly raw. Gone were the flashy stage lights and industry polish. Instead, fans saw a young woman rediscovering her sound without the corporate filter. By 2022, she released her independent single, That Girl Don't Live Here, a gritty blues rock anthem that immediately reminded listeners why they fell in love with her voice in the first place. Music critics praised the track for its authenticity, noting that it sounded like Courtney unleashed, free from the constraints that once boxed her in. This independent rebirth wasn't just musical, it was personal. She spoke in interviews about taking control of her artistry, writing her own material, and building her brand from the ground up. Her tone was more confident now, though still humble, acknowledging how fame had once overwhelmed her. "I needed time to grow up," she admitted in one candid interview, "and I didn't want to make music that didn't feel like me." Fans welcomed her honesty, rallying behind her comeback with the same passion that made her viral years earlier. This time, however, it wasn't about the shock value of a teenager channeling Janis Joplin. It was about a maturing artist finding her place in a world that once tried to define her. Courtney Hadwin had not vanished, she had evolved, and she was finally back in control of her story. Rumors, struggles, and the harsh reality behind the scenes. Behind the glow of her independent comeback, whispers of what truly happened during Courtney Hadwin's hiatus continued to swirl. Industry insiders hinted that her withdrawal wasn't just a personal choice, but the inevitable result of exhaustion, legal red tape, and creative suffocation under the weight of fame at such a young age. Rumors emerged that during her early years under contract, Courtney faced intense pressure to conform to market trends, to abandon her gritty rock tone for a more pop-oriented sound that executives believed would sell better. Sources close to the production process claim she rejected several proposed singles, refusing to compromise her artistic integrity. That defiance reportedly put her at odds with management and delayed releases indefinitely. At the same time, the emotional toll of overnight fame began to show. Friends described her as quiet, overwhelmed, and burnt out, struggling to balance normal teenage life with the scrutiny of millions. Some fans speculated that her disappearance had to do with mental health struggles, though Courtney herself has never confirmed this. What she has said is that the entertainment industry can be lonely, especially for young artists without full control of their path. The pressure to remain relevant while constantly being compared to legends created a level of expectation almost impossible to sustain. When Psycho folded and label support evaporated, she found herself caught in a legal maze that paused her ability to release new work. Rather than crumble, she chose silence, a bold act of self-preservation that confused many but ultimately saved her creativity. These behind-the-scenes battles revealed a hard truth. Fame can lift an artist overnight, but without freedom, it can also suffocate them just as quickly. The new sound and the road to reinvention. When Courtney Hadwin returned to the music scene, it wasn't just as a comeback artist, it was as a reinvented one. Gone was the timid teenager who once stunned the world with a raspy blues scream. In her place stood a young woman with a deeper understanding of her craft, her voice, and her purpose. Her new material blended the same vintage soul influences that defined her early fame with a modern edge that hinted at emotional maturity and personal growth. Songs like Breakable and That Girl Don't Live Here carried messages of resilience, independence, and quiet rebellion, mirroring her journey through the chaos of the industry. Music critics who once doubted her longevity began to take notice again, praising her ability to evolve without losing her essence. More importantly, she was now fully in control of her direction, writing, co-producing, and even handling some of her own marketing. Courtney began performing at smaller, more intimate venues, reconnecting with fans who admired her for staying true to herself instead of chasing trends. Social media, once her loudest stage, became her creative diary, a place to share snippets of studio life, jam sessions, and her signature unfiltered laugh. She no longer seemed to be chasing fame, she was shaping her own lane, step by step, guitar in hand. In an industry obsessed with instant virality, Courtney's quiet persistence stood out. She wasn't the child prodigy everyone remembered. She was an artist reborn from the ashes of fame, determined to prove that real talent doesn't disappear, it simply waits for the right time to speak again. The reality of fame and the cost of growing up in public. As Courtney Hadwin's reinvention gained traction, it reignited an uncomfortable truth that the entertainment world often overlooks: the emotional cost of growing up under the spotlight. Her journey exposed the brutal side of instant fame, where success comes first and understanding comes later. At 13, she was thrust into a media machine built for adults, not a teenager still discovering herself. Psychologists and industry experts later pointed to her case as a classic example of performance burnout, where young prodigies are celebrated for their uniqueness but pressured to maintain perfection at all times. Courtney's reserved, introverted nature only deepened that struggle. The same shyness that made her transformation on stage so fascinating also made fame a suffocating experience offstage. Journalists recalled how she often appeared uneasy during red carpet interviews, answering in short phrases and quickly retreating from attention once cameras stopped rolling. Fame, it seemed, had arrived too fast, too loud, and too soon. The industry's obsession with viral success had turned a teenager's passion into a business model with no pause button for her to breathe. Yet, even in her silence, Courtney never lashed out publicly or blamed anyone. Instead, her quiet withdrawal became a silent protest, a way to reclaim her peace and privacy. When she finally spoke about those years, her tone was calm, reflective, almost philosophical. "It's hard when everyone expects you to be something all the time," she said softly in an interview. "Sometimes you just need to be you." That simple line summed up her resilience, proof that even in an unforgiving industry, staying true to oneself is still the bravest act of all. The fans who never gave up. Through every silence, setback, and whisper of speculation, one constant remained: Courtney Hadwin's fiercely loyal fan base. Even when years passed without new releases, her supporters refused to believe she was gone for good. Fan pages across Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook stayed active, posting old performances, edits, and theories about her next move. YouTube comment sections under her viral audition video became mini fan forums, filled with messages like "still waiting for her return" and "talent like this never fades." For many, Courtney wasn't just another contestant from America's Got Talent. She represented authenticity in a world increasingly dominated by algorithm-driven artists. Her fans saw something pure in her stage presence, something untamed that couldn't be manufactured. When she finally dropped her independent music, those same fans became her marketing team, spreading her songs organically across social media and streaming platforms. Unlike many fleeting internet sensations, Courtney's following didn't just chase trends. They built a community around belief that real artistry takes time. Even international audiences from the US, UK, and Asia began rediscovering her music, calling her the voice that never died. Her reemergence became a shared victory for everyone who had waited, proof that genuine connection between artist and audience can survive even in absence. And in a digital era where attention spans fade faster than fame rises, Courtney's fans stood out as a rare example of loyalty, the kind that doesn't fade when the lights go out, but grows stronger in the dark. Lessons learned and the meaning behind the silence. Looking back, Courtney Hadwin's journey tells a story far bigger than a teenage prodigy's rise and retreat. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when raw talent collides with a ruthless industry. Her years of silence, once seen as a mystery, now make perfect sense. They weren't a disappearance, they were a reset. Courtney learned early that fame without freedom is hollow, and that protecting one's identity sometimes means walking away from everything that made you famous. In interviews, she's hinted that those quiet years taught her the value of self-expression over approval, authenticity over algorithms. It's a message that resonates deeply in today's entertainment world, where viral fame is often mistaken for artistic success. Her story exposes how quickly the industry moves on when you stop feeding it, but also how powerful it can be when you return on your own terms. She's shown that sometimes the bravest thing an artist can do is say no. No to exploitation, no to pressure, and no to being molded into something that sells but doesn't feel true. For young artists watching her journey, Courtney's path is both a warning and an inspiration, a reminder that chasing fame too fast can burn you out, but standing your ground can reignite your spark. In the end, her silence became her statement, a quiet rebellion that spoke louder than any song she could have released during those years. And as she continues to rebuild her career, it's clear she's not just making a comeback, she's rewriting the rules of what it means to survive fame. Hope, healing, and a second act. Today, Courtney Hadwin stands at a crossroads that feels both familiar and entirely new. She's no longer the nervous teenager trembling under stage lights. She's an artist who has weathered the storm, found her voice, and reclaimed her narrative. With whispers of an upcoming full-length album and hints of a small international tour, her career appears to be entering a promising new chapter, one shaped by her own choices rather than corporate agendas. Her recent live sessions showcase a matured sound, still rooted in her signature raspy soul, but tinged with introspection and subtle melancholy, as if each lyric carries the lessons she's learned from fame's double-edged sword. For fans, her return represents more than just new music. It's a moment of healing and closure, the culmination of years spent wondering whether the girl who shocked the world had truly disappeared. Now she's proving she never did. Journalists have described her evolution as the most honest comeback in modern pop, praising her courage to step back before stepping forward again. In a world obsessed with speed, Courtney's slow and steady reemergence feels like a breath of authenticity. She's no longer chasing the limelight, she's walking into it with purpose. Whether or not her second act reaches the same viral heights as her debut doesn't seem to matter, because for the first time, the spotlight belongs entirely to her. As she looks ahead, one thing is certain: Courtney Hadwin isn't just making a return to music, she's making a return to herself. As the final chords of her journey play out, Courtney Hadwin's story has become something greater than a tale of fame. It's a testament to perseverance, integrity, and the quiet strength it takes to walk away when the world demands you stay. What began as a viral moment on a talent show evolved into a narrative about growth, control, and reclaiming identity in an industry that often forgets its humanity. Courtney's path wasn't paved with the glitter of endless fame, but with the grit of rediscovery. She faced pressure, manipulation, and doubt, yet somehow turned them into purpose. Today, she represents a generation of artists who value authenticity over applause, proving that silence can sometimes be louder than any spotlight. For fans, her music remains more than entertainment. It's a reflection of courage, vulnerability, and self-belief. For the music industry, her journey is a wake-up call that true artistry cannot be packaged, timed, or scripted. And for Courtney herself, this chapter is far from over. Her voice, once silenced by the noise of fame, has found a new rhythm, one that is entirely her own. As she steps into her next era, one thing is certain. Courtney Hadwin didn't fade away, she evolved, and the world is finally ready to listen.